I'll ring louder and we'll go from there. So
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
try it again.
The laptop microphone just might be a lower quality. That's all.
You.
All right. Thank you.
did just ring the bell for the end of our meditation. Were we able to hear that?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Hmm. Thank you. Yeah, it appears this microphone is not sufficient for the bells.
Yeah,
So
I did not hear anything either. Thank you.
yeah, we'll have to figure out a different solution than the laptop. But we
Yeah,
will.
I couldn't hear you ring the bell to start it either, but I didn't want to say anything again. So, but I didn't think about the end of the meditation.
No worries. Thank you. That's okay. We'll find a different solution for next time. Um,
Oh, so sure. Thank you for helping tonight.
sure. We will take a few minutes and then return with our sutra study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks like we're at the right spot. Um, yes. And Jasmine, do you wish to read it all today? I know you're traveling.
Yeah, sure. Oh, we can take turns.
Okay. Then I shall go ahead and begin. Uh, Thus Ananda and the assembly listened to the compassionate Buddha's unsurpassed sermon, and Gotha, whose profound meanings were so enlightening and penetrating that their mental eyes were opened. They praised what they had never seen before. Ananda then brought his palms together, prostrated, and said, I have today listened to the Buddha's compassionate teaching, which revealed the pure, subtle, and permanent reality of the nature. But I am still not clear about how to untie the knots, one after the other, and what you meant by when the 6 knots are undone, the one also vanishes. Will you again take pity on this assembly and future generations, and teach us in order to wash our defilements away?
The Buddha, who was on his lion's seat, adjusted his inner garments and outer robe, and took from the teepot a piece of beautiful cloth which the Yamadeva had given him. Then, in the presence of the assembly, he tied a knot and showed it to Ananda, asking, What is this? Ananda and the others replied, It is a knot. The Buddha then tied another knot and asked, What is this? They all replied, This is also a knot. The Buddha tied 4 more knots, showing each to Ananda and asking, What is this? They all replied that each was a knot.
The Buddha said to Ananda, When I first tied this cloth, you called it a knot. There is only one piece of cloth, but why did you call the second and third ties also knots? Ananda replied, World-honored one, although there is only one piece of cloth, if you tie it once, there will be a knot, and if you tie it 100 times, there will be 100 knots. But this cloth only has 6 knots, because you only tied it 6 times. Why do you agree to my calling the first tie a knot, and disagree to the second and third ones also being called knots?
The Buddha asked, Ananda, originally there was only one piece of cloth.
No potty?
Oh, you're unmuted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's
No,
potty to
no,
me.
I'm good.
Wow.
Sorry.
Ananda, originally there was only one piece of cloth, but when I tied it 6 times, there were 6 knots. As you see it, the length of cloth was the same before, but it is now different with its 6 knots. The first knot I tied was called the first one, and altogether I tied 6 of them. Do you think that the 6th one can be called the first knot? Ananda replied, No, world-honored one. So long as there are 6 knots, the last one is the 6th, and cannot be called the first. Even if I discuss this for the rest of my life, how can I number these 6 knots in the wrong order?
The Buddha said, It is so. These 6 knots are different, but come from one length of cloth, and you cannot reverse their order. It is the same with your 6 sense organs, which, though coming from the same, are manifestly different. Ananda, clearly you object to the 6 knots and prefer one. But how can you obtain it? Ananda replied, If these 6 knots remain, concepts of right and wrong will arise in great confusion. With this knot, is not that one, and that knot is not this one. World-honored one, if all the knots were untied, there would remain nothing. With complete elimination of thisness and thatness, then in the absence of even one, how can there be 6? Oh,
The Buddha said, Likewise, when the 6 knots are untied, the one also vanishes. It is because of confusion in your mad mind since the time without beginning that your intellect gives rise to illusions, the unceasing creation of which disturbs your seeing and causes it to perceive objects in the same way that troubled eyes see dancing flowers. Hence, in the clear and bright arise without any cause all worldly phenomena, such as mountains, rivers, and the great earth, samsara and nirvana, which are but dancing flowers created by confusion, trouble, and inversion.
Ananda asked, "How can one untie these knots created by trouble and confusion?" Then the Buddha held the piece of cloth, pulled its left end, and asked, "Can it be untied in this way?" Ananda replied, "No, world-honored one." The Buddha then pulled the right end and asked, "Can it be untied in this way?" Ananda replied, "No, world-honored one." The Buddha said, "I have pulled both ends of this cloth, but have been unable to untie the knots. What will you do now?" Ananda replied, "World-honored one, knot should be untied in its center." The Buddha said, "Correct, Ananda, correct. A knot should be untied from its heart. Ananda, the Buddha Dharma, which I expound, manifests due to causes and is beyond those coarse forms that come from worldly mixtures and unions. When the Buddha reveals the mundane and supra-mundane, he knows their chief causes and concurrent conditions. He is even clearer about the number of drops of rain in a place as many miles away from here as there are sand grains in the Ganges, as well as why pine trees arc straight and brambles crooked, geese white and crows black. Therefore, Ananda, choose one organ. Choose one organ from the 6, and if its knot is untied, all objects of sense will vanish of themselves. When all illusions disappear, if this is not reality, what more do you expect? Ananda, tell me now if the 6 knots of this cloth can be untied simultaneously."
Ananda replied, "No, world-honored one, because they were originally tied one after the other and should be untied in the same order. Although they are in the same piece of cloth, they were not tied simultaneously. How can they now be untied all at once?"
The Buddha said, "Your 6 organs should be disengaged in the same way. When you begin to disentangle them, you will realize that the ego is void. When this voidness is perfectly clear, you will realize that all dharma are void. When you are disengaged from dharma, the voidness will vanish. This is called the patient endurance of the uncreate, achieved by means of samadhi in the bodhisattva stage."
After Ananda and the assembly had heard the Buddha's teaching, their understanding was clear and free from doubt and suspicion. Ananda brought his palms together, prostrated himself, and said, "Today our bodies and minds are clear, at ease, and unhindered. Though I have understood what you mean by the disappearance of 1 and 6, I am still unable to perfect my sense organs. World-honored one, I am like a lonely wanderer and a hapless orphan. How fortunate have I been to meet the Buddha and to be his relative, like a hungry baby who suddenly meets its suckling mother. This gives me a chance to attain the holy goal. But although I have listened to his profound words, I am still unawakened, as if I had not heard them. Will you please reveal to me the ultimate approach?"
After saying this, he prostrated himself and concentrated on his inner potentiality to receive the profound instruction. Thereat, the world-honored one said to the great bodhisattvas and chief arhats in the assembly, "I want to ask you, bodhisattvas and arhats, who have practiced my dharma and have reached the state beyond study, this question. when you developed your minds to awaken to the 18 fields of sense, which one did you regard as the best means of perfection, and by what methods did you enter the state of samadhi?
Kaundinya of the first 5 bhikshus rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, when soon after his enlightenment we met the Tathagata in Murgadava and Kuta parks, I heard his voice, understood his teaching, and awakened to the Four Noble Truths. When questioned by the Buddha, I interpreted them correctly, and the Tathagata sealed my awakening by naming me Ajnata. As his wonderful voice was mysteriously all-embracing, I attained arahatship by means of sound. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, to me, sound is best according to my personal experience.
Upanishad then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, I also met the Buddha soon after his enlightenment. After meditating on impurity, which I found repulsive and from which I kept, I awakened to the underlying nature of all forms. I realized that bleached bones that came from impurity would be reduced to dust, and would finally return to the void. As both form and the void were perceived as non-existent, I achieved the state beyond study. The Tathagata sealed my understanding and named me Nisad. After eradicating the form, wonderful form appeared mysteriously all-embracing. Thus I attained arhatship through meditation on form. As the Buddha now asks me about the best means of perfection, to me form is the best according to my personal experience.
A bodhisattva named Fragrance Adorned then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, after the Tathagata had taught me to look into all worldly phenomena, I left him and retired to set my mind at rest. While observing the rules of pure living, I saw the bhikshus burn sandal incense. In the stillness, its fragrance entered my nostrils. I inquired into the smell, which was neither sandalwood nor voidness, and neither smoke nor fire, and which had neither whence to come nor whither to go. Thereby my intellect vanished, and I achieved the state beyond the stream of transmigration. The Tathagata sealed my awakening and named me Fragrance Adorned. After the sudden elimination of smell, the wonderful fragrance became mysteriously all-embracing. Thus I attained arahatship by means of smell. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, to me smell is the best according to my personal experience.
The two bodhisattvas called Bhaisa Jizya Raja and Bhaisajya Samudgata, who were present with 500 Brahmadevas, then rose from their seats, prostrated themselves with their heads at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, since the time without beginning, we have been skillful physicians in the world, and have tasted with our own mouths herbs, plants, and all kinds of mineral and stone found in the world, numbering 108,000 in all. As a result, we know perfectly their tastes, whether bitter or sour, salt, insipid, sweet, acrid, their etc., their natural, changing, or harmonizing properties, and whether they are cooling, heating, poisonous, or wholesome. We received instruction from the Tathagata and knew clearly that taste was neither existing nor non-existent, was neither body nor mind, and did not exist apart from them. Since we could discern the cause of taste, we achieved our awakening, which was sealed by the Buddha, who then named us Bhaisajya Raja and Bhaisajya Samudgata. We are now ranked among the sons of the Dharma King. In this assembly, and because of our awakening by means of taste, we have attained the Bodhisattva stage. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, to us, taste is the best, according to our personal experience.
Rapala, who was with 16 companions, who were all great bodhisattvas, rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "When the Buddha, with an awe-inspiring voice, appeared in the world, I heard of the Dharma and left home. At the time of bathing, I followed the rules and entered the bathroom. Suddenly I awakened to the causal water, which cleansed neither dirt nor body. Thereby I felt at ease and realized the state of nothingness. As I had not forgotten my former practice, when I left home to follow the Buddha, in my present life I achieved the state beyond study. That Buddha named me Bhadrapala because of my awakening to wonderful touch and my realization of the rank of a son of Buddha. As the Buddha asks now about the best means of perfection, to me, touch is the best according to my personal experience."
Mahakasyapa, who was present with the Bhikshuni Golden Light and others, then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "In a former aeon, when Chandrasurya Pradipa Buddha appeared in the world, I had a chance of following him, and of hearing the Dharma which I practiced. After he had passed away, I revered his relics, lit lamps to perpetuate his light, and decorated his statue with pure gold powder. Since then, in every subsequent reincarnation, my body has been radiant with perfect golden light. This Bhikshuni Golden Light and the others who are with her are my retinue, because we developed the same mind at the same time. I looked into the 6 changing sense data which can be reduced to complete extinction only through the state of nirvana. Thus my body and mind were able to pass through hundreds and thousands of aeons in a finger snap. By eradicating all dharma, I realized arhatship, and the world-honored one declared that I was the foremost disciplinarian. I awakened to the wonderful dharma, thereby putting an end to the stream of transmigration. As the Buddha now asks about this best means of perfection, to me, dharma are the best, according to my personal experience."
Aniruddha then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "After I left home, I was always very fond of sleep, and the Tathagata scolded me, saying that I was like an animal. After this severe reprimand, I wept bitterly and blamed myself. Because of my sadness, I did not sleep for 7 successive nights, and went completely blind. Then the world-honored one taught me how to take delight in the enlightening Vajra Samadhi, which enabled me to perceive, not with my eyes, the pure truth pervading the 10 directions, very clearly perceptible, as easy to see as a mango held in my own hand. The Tathagata sealed my attainment of arhatship, as he now asks about the best means of perfection. To me, seeing is, according to my personal experience, the best, which is made possible by turning the organ of sight back to its source.
Kasudrapantaka then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "I did not know much for want of reading and reciting. When I first met the Buddha, I heard of the Dharma and then left home. I tried to memorize a line of his gatha, but failed for 100 days, because as soon as I could retain its first words, I forgot the last ones. And when I could remember the last words, I forgot the first ones. The Buddha took pity on my stupidity and taught me how to live in a quiet retreat and to regularize my breathing. At the time, I looked exhaustively into each in and out breath and realized that its rise, stay, change, and end lasted only an instant. Thereby my mind became clear and unhindered until I stepped out of the stream of transmigration and finally attained arhatship. I came to stay with the Buddha, who sealed my realization of the state beyond study. As he now asks about the best means of perfection, to me, breathing is the best according to my personal experience, and turning the breath back to the condition of nothingness.
Gavampati then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "Because of my verbal sin, when I trifled with monks in a former aeon, in every succeeding reincarnation I have been born with a mouth that always chews the cud like a cow. The Tathagata taught me the pure and clean doctrine of one mind, which enabled me to eliminate the concept of mind for my entry into the state of samadhi. I looked into tasting, realized that it was neither substance nor thing, and leaped beyond the stream of transmigration. I thereby disengaged myself from both the inner body and mind and the outer universe, and was released from the three worlds of existence. I was like a bird escaping from its cage, thus avoiding impurities and defilements. With my Dharma eye now pure and clean, I attained arhatship, and the Tathagata personally sealed my realization of the stage beyond study. As the Buddha now asks about the best means of perfection, to me, the turning of taste back to its knower is the best according to my personal experience.
Pilindavatsa then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "When I first followed the Buddha to enter upon the path, very often I heard the Tathagata speak about the worldly, which could not give joy and happiness. I went to town to beg for food, and as I was thinking about his teaching, I stepped inadvertently on a poisonous thorn that pierced my foot and caused me to feel pain all over my body. I thought of my body, which knew and felt this great pain. Although there was this feeling, I looked into my pure and clean mind, which no pain could affect. I also thought, how can this one body of mine have two sorts of feeling? And after a short concentration on this, all of a sudden my body and mind seemed to be non-existent. And 3 weeks later I achieved the stage beyond the stream of transmigration, and thereby attained arhatship. The Buddha personally sealed my realization of the stage beyond study, as he now asks about the best means of perfection. To me, the pure awareness that wipes out the body is the best according to my personal experience.
The Buddha then rose from his seat, prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha, and declared, "As my mind was already free from all hindrances in former aeons, I can now remember my previous reincarnations as countless as the sands in the Ganges. Even when I was a fetus in my mother's womb, I had already awakened to the condition of voidness, which subsequently expanded to fill all the 10 directions. Living beings how to awaken to their absolute nature. Thanks to the Tathagata, I realized the absolute voidness of self-natured awareness, and with the perfection of my immaterial nature, I attained arhatship, thereby entering suddenly into the Tathagata's precious brightness, which was as immense as space and the ocean, wherein I achieved Buddha knowledge, attainment of the stage beyond study. I am therefore regarded as the foremost disciple because of my understanding of material self-nature, of immaterial self-nature. As the book about the best means of perfection, according in perceiving the unreality of all phenomena, with the elimination of even this unreality in order to reduce all things to nothingness. And normally we stop at 30 minutes after. Did we want to keep going?
It's what time is it now? 6:40 about. Um, I think this is about the right time, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and
Okay.
then Jasmine, you're not feeling well tonight. So my thinking is it should be, and you're far away and it's 9:30 there, 9:45 times there.
Yep. 9:40, yeah.
So I think maybe we should end as soon as you feel you should. Yeah.
Okay, this is probably a good stopping point.
Okie doke.
Does anybody have any questions or want to have any discussion on what we read tonight?
It's pretty cool that I remember a lot of these stories from reading it last year, I believe, um, where they're going through each I guess arhat or bodhisattva is going through each way that they achieved um, um, supreme bodhi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep. It's a good part in the sutra for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
It showcases our effort for sure. It further supports it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I like
Yep.
how each story it ends with in my experience, which means um, this whole practice is experiential. This isn't something that they just read and all of a sudden had. They actually experienced it through whatever it is they experience.
True. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll stop there. I got our stopping point for today.
And
Um,
I notice, sorry, and notice that each person's is different.
this is very true. So there's more than one way to undo the knots, as it were.
Right. Well, then no, let me correct you here. There's only one way to undo the knots, but there are 5 senses through which you can undo the knots. Sorry.
No, there you go. That's more accurate. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm done. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, it brings it into real life. Like this is what happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Um, well, if nothing else, thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll end it here until next time.
Cool. Thank you for hosting while I'm away, Robert.
No worries, and be good to have you home.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.